back for another episode of Rockin' Birthdays for the week of July 26th to August 1st. I'm Jammin' Jeff. Let's get started. Alright, for July 26th, 1940, we have Dobie Gray. 1941, we have Brenton Wood. 1943, we have Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones. 1947, we have Al Anderson of NRBQ. 1949, we have Roger Taylor of Queen. 1961, we have Andy Connel of Swingout Sister. 1961, we have Gary Cherone of Extreme. And in 1963, we have Andrew C. Timmons of Danger Danger. Now for July 27th, we have 1929, we have Harvey Fuqua of the Moonglows. 1930, we have Andy Wright of the Beatles, it says here. I'm guessing he must have been somebody in the background of the Beatles. 1933, we have Nick Reynolds of the Kingston Trio. 1943, we have Al Ramsey of Gary Lewis and the Playboys. 1944, we have Bobbie Gentry. 1949, we have David Muse of Firefall. 1950, we have Michael Vaughn of Paper Lace. 1962, we have Karl Mueller of Soul Asylum. 1964, we have Rex Brown of Pantera. And in 1973, we have Abe Cunningham of the Deftones. Now on July 28th, 1938, we have George Cummings of Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. 1939, we have Clem Cattini of Johnny Kidd and the Pirates, and also the Tornadoes. 1943, we have Richard Wright of Pink Floyd. 1948, we have Gerald Castle of Devo. 1949, Simon Kirke of Bad Company. 1949, we have Steve Peregrine of Tyrannosaurus Rex. 1949 is Peter Doyle of the New Seekers. 1953, we have Steve Duncan of Desert Rose Band. 1954, we have Steve Morse of the Dixie Dregs and Deep Purple. 1954, we have Ken Margolis of Meek DeVille. And 1961, we have David Huff of Giant. Alright, now moving on to July 29th, we have 1935, we have Leonard Lee of Shirley and Lee. 1946, we have Neil Doherty of REO Speedwagon. 1951, we have Dean Pitchford. 1953, we have Geddy Lee of Rush. 1959, we have John Sykes of Thin Lizzy and Blue Murder. Okay, and moving on to July 30th, 1941, we have Paul Anka. 1946, we have Jeffrey Hammond of Jethro Tull. 1955, we have Rat Scabies, also known as Chris Miller of The Damned. 1965, we have Tex Exile of Transvision Vamp. And in 1968, we have Sean Moore of Manic Street Preachers. And now moving on to July 31st. 1932, we have Maury Carr of the Playmates. 1939, we have John R. West of Gary Lewis and the Playboys. 1943, we have Lobo, also known as Kent Lavoie. 1946, we have Gary Lewis of Gary Lewis and the Playboys. 1947, we have Karl Green of Herman's Hermits. And in 1956, we have Bill Berry of REM. Alright, and moving on to August 1st. 1942, we have Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. And in 1946, we have Dennis Payton of the Dave Clark Five. 1947, we have Rick Anderson of the Tubes. And also in 1947, we have Ricky Kuntz of the Grassroots. 1958, we have Rob Buck of 10,000 Maniacs. And 1959, we have Joe Elliott of Def Leppard. 1964, we have Nick Christian Sayer of the Transvision Vamp. 1964, we have Adam Duritz of Counting Crows. And last but not least, we have, in 1968, we have Dan Dongan of Disturbed. Alright, that was this week's episode of Rockin' Birthdays. I'm Jammin' Jeff. Thanks for joining us, and as always, keep rockin'.